This is Doug with Bouncer. We're in North Carolina. The heat finally broke this summer. We're having a nice Saturday afternoon brew day where we're doing a tropical lightning IPA recipe from my local brew company, Wilmington Brewing Company. And it's basically a double IPA, lots of Amarillo, lots of Citra hops in there. We'll be using the Bouncer to strain out some of that hops as we go from the boil kettle into the fermenter, and then eventually we'll also use the Bouncer as we're coming out of the fermenter.
Yeah. And then they
cooling down the boil.
They were off and Doug came back.
All right, so what we got here is basically a double IPA. It's a recipe from my local brew shop called Tropical Lightning IPA from Wilmington Brewing Company. And it's got a lot of hops in it. It's got basically 8 ounces of hops already in. We're going to dry hop another 3 ounces later. We've done a double batch, so this is a 10 gallon. We started with 11 gallons. I'm going to guesstimate that we got 9 gallons left. And we have cold crashed it. We've cooled it down. And so we've done the normal stuff that normally you'd like to try to get all the hops, down to a layer here. But we're not going to siphon out. We're going to come out and we're going to see how much stuff we catch with the Bouncer. And so hopefully we'll get pretty clean wort out of here. And we'll see we got a nice clear carboy here. And basically I'm just taking my tube from my racking cane, and it fits on the 3/8 inch barb, and I've got the regular screen on here. And my buddies at the brew store said, hey, just you'll probably get a bunch of hops out at the beginning and then it'll clear up, but we'll see what the Bouncer takes out of it. So here we go. So definitely lots of hops in there. You can see it coming through. And the beer coming through is pretty green. This is all gravity fed here, so we're not pumping anything. And we're definitely seeing some of the hops come through. Again, we cold crashed it, so hopefully we have a good layer at the bottom. All right, so we've moved about a pint in here already, and we're getting almost no flow, right? And they kind of warned me about this, so I've turned it off. And I'm going to take off the Bouncer. Now, we're not really worried about air at this point because we need to aerate the wort, right? And I've got a whole bunch of stuff here, right? And I'll just pour this out. So basically I clogged it up. And at this point what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rinse this off. Dipped it into sanitizer. This is the first part that we pulled out. And now we got a good strong flow. I think what we got is a channel coming through all the hops and the trub, or the stuff at the bottom of it. We got a good strong flow. We kind of prevented that first, I don't know, maybe it's a 1/4 cup of stuff coming into our beer. And so we'll just have less going into the fermenter, and hopefully we'll get a clearer beer at the end. So we've gotten some pretty clear wort out of here. And now what we're getting is we're at the end and starting to pull out the very last of what's coming out of our boil kettle. And you can see the stuff flowing in, you can see what's coming out of it. And we did get some, you still see some things coming through here. But basically as this starts to fill up, the filtration actually starts to get, better. And it's sort of like having a grain bed that does its own filtration. So we're going to let it run and let that hops filter itself, and just let it run slow, all gravity feed, and we'll get some good clear wort into our fermenters. All right, so we're at the end of our boil and at the end of our transfer into the fermenters, and we're getting almost no flow now. So here's what we're getting out, and still it's just the very last of our of what's going to come out of the boil kettle. So I just knocked it all out. I'm going to put it into sanitizer and we'll put it back on. So I got my bucket of sanitizer, There it is. I dunked my whole hands in. Everything's sanitary. Put it back in. All right, so we're getting the last bit of out of the boil pot here, and you know, it's pretty soupy down there at the bottom. We haven't been worried that much about oxygenation or aeration at this point, so we haven't splashed or anything like that. What we're going to do is use the oxygen tank to put pure oxygen into both of these fermenters. And like I said, I'm kind of getting the very last bit of available beer or available wort out of this ferment or out of this boil kettle. And so we're getting a little higher yield than you would normally get. I probably have stopped earlier than this without having some kind of a filtration system at this point.